Hello, and welcome to this fifth lecture of developing best design idea in this course on winning prototype development. I am Arun Singhal, your management coach and mentor with 40 years of experience in people development. So in this section, we've been working on helping you understand how to develop best design ideas so that you can develop a winning prototype to help your business, help you build your business. And so far we have looked at the various steps of how to develop a best design idea, and we are at a stage in which we are looking at after having developed alternate concept designs, how to understand and resolve conflicts in the concept designs that we'll have. And in this last lecture we talked about a technique, a methodology called TRIZ, and we understood what TRIZ is. And we will now take a look at in this lecture how can we use TRIZ through a specific example to understand and resolve conflicts. Right? Ready for that? So how can we use TRIZ to understand and resolve conflicts? Any idea? And we understood the TRIZ in the last lecture, in which we said if we have a specific contradiction or a problem, we need to what TRIZ gives us is generalized solution to generalized problem. So we need to convert the specific problem into general problem, then look at the relevant general solution and convert the general solution to a specific solution to our problem. So that's how we can use TRIZ. So, but there is also a methodology that you see on your screen that we can use, and this basically starts with defining the problem. What is the problem that you have? What is the conflict that you have? What is the contradiction that you have that you want to solve? Then mapping that contradiction, and we will show through this example how to do that. And then identification of general solutions, selection of relevant general solutions. After you find many solutions, find one that is relevant for you. And mapping the general solution to customized solution to solve the specific problem that you had in the beginning of this process, right? You get an understanding of the overall process. So let's see how we can do this in this case of a water purifier. Let's run through that example to illustrate how can we use that. And this is a wonderful technique that you will see. So let's take the case of the problem. The problem in this case in the water purifier is that we find that silver kills germs. Therefore, we want to incorporate it in the water purifier. Conventionally, it has been used, silver container, but we can't afford to have water purifier with silver container, can we? So while silver has germ-killing property, the challenge that it is a very expensive metal. So that's the challenge. So we want to use silver, but it is very expensive. It will increase our cost. So how can we use silver without increasing the cost disproportionately? So that is the problem, right? Okay. The second step would be to map the contradiction, as you see on your screen on the right hand side of your screen, right? So what we see here is if we use silver, the positive thing is that germs are killed, but the not so positive thing is that it is expensive, it increases the cost. And if you don't use silver, the germs are not killed, and the cost definitely comes down. So what we need, has to retain silver for the good effects of killing property, while the expense associated with the metal needs to be eliminated. So that's the contradiction that you need to manage. Right. So having looked at that, what we see is how can we take it to, so we look at the contradictions that we have in the 39 by 39 matrix, and we find what are the relevant contradictions that we can use to find the general solution and move forward in this process. So we find two contradictions, two parameters in 39 by 39 table. The parameter number 2 says weight of the stationary object. So silver being used in this being a stationary object, and what we want to do is we want to reduce we want to reduce the weight of silver, right? So that number 2 becomes relevant. At the same time, we can increase the stationary object. If we can increase the surface of the silver, that will continue to kill more germs with lesser cost, right? So that's an ideal scenario. So that's what we want to do. So having identified the general contradictions, what we look at is what are the various solutions that we have. So as you see on your screen again, if you look at that table that maps the contradictions with generalized solution, so you pick number 2 as a worsening feature that you want to reduce. So you want to reduce the weight of the object, and we want to improve the surface of silver, right? And you find in that contradiction there are 4 possible general solutions. Solution number 2, 14, 18 and 30. So we have found general solutions. So and let's look at what these general solutions are and how can we convert them in the last stage to specific solutions to this problem. This might be a little difficult to read, but please take effort. So the 4 solutions that says the first solution is take out. So what it takes out means the general details are take out and separate the interesting part of the property of the object, or single out only the necessary part of the object. So what it is saying is that out of silver metal, can you single out the aspect of silver that has the germ killing property and just take that, not take the rest of it. And that will reduce the weight of the silver as well as give you the properties of killing the silver, right? So, and that sounds a good solution. Then the 14 and 18 are not that relevant. If you go to 30, it says use flexible shells or thin film. And that makes again a tremendous sense, right? Because in that, could we convert silver into a thin films instead of having the 3-dimensional structure? And so we find some great insights here, right? So can we take out the properties, the germ killing properties of the silver, or can we use thin films of silver instead of this? So as a result of that, the team found that they can do 2 things. One, they thought of taking out the nano silver, minute particles of silver that has a germ killing property, and binding that to rice husk, which had the other property required to purify the water, so the silica and carbon property. So you have a possible mechanism in which you have the property of silver, you have the properties of silica and the properties of ceramic, right? And that becomes a great reducing agent that we can kill the germs at a cost which is disproportionately low. And that solves the contradiction, doesn't it? So it's a wonderful tool that you can use to solve technical problems. So what do we do in the next module? So in the next modules, having resolved the conflicts, found out how to manage the contradictions and resolve the conflicts, we will now look at, once we have that solution, what are the risks involved in moving forward on such solutions, and we will look at how to mitigate the risk using another wonderful tool. So thank you so much for watching this 5th lecture. I hope you're continuing to learn a lot of new things, you're continuing to enjoy, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next lecture.